Hi everybody, welcome to Teen Takeout. Today we're going to be making macrame tassel keychains. It's a fun little project that you can either use as a keychain or you can use it as an attachment to your backpack or somewhere else fun. So grab your craft kit and a pair of scissors and let's get started. In your craft kit, you'll find a piece of white macrame cording. We did place a little bit of painter's tape on the ends to keep it from unraveling. If you decide you would like to do this project again, you can find craft cord like this at your local craft stores or discount stores. This was called Cora's Cotton Craft Cord, and it comes in bulk like this with different sizes of cord, different colors. It's fairly inexpensive. This is 50 feet. And it's $6. So you can make a lot of keychains with this. I also wanted to show you the floss, what it looks like that we're going to be wrapping around. So the floss that we purchased came in little spools like this. We used an all cotton floss so it didn't pill as easily as others would. You can also use embroidery floss, which some of you used to make bracelets in the past. So lots of different colors on this, and again, you can get it at discount stores or you can actually buy it at Hobby Lobby or online. So those are some of our other supplies that you may not know a lot about. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our craft. So your first step, we're going to go ahead and grab your baggie and open that up, and inside you are going to find a little star with your darning needle on the end. The darning needle is a needle that's not very sharp, but it's going to get the job done for us today. You're also going to find a little lobster keychain clip that we're going to use for our projects today. You can use a variety of different types of keychain attachments or clips. I thought these were really fun because they work well as a keychain or to clip on those backpacks or whatnot if you're wanting to use it for something else. We purchased a few different colors of these, so not all of them are going to be the same. There was silver, gold, a little bit of brass. These can be found here locally as well. Often they come in a 2-pack, but again, you could use just a regular keychain ring or whatever you want to use. So we're going to need that lobster clip and your cord to get us started. Before we move on to our first step, I do want to kind of show you just a couple samples of tassels. This isn't really our finished project because I did not include the keychain clip in there, but I kind of want to give you an idea of what they're going to look like. So a little bit of wrapped cord, your keychain would go up on the top, and then frayed edges. We did select neutral colors for our project today. We thought that that might be the most friendly to everyone that we have participating. So know that there is hundreds of colors out there that you can use to create this project. The floss comes in primary colors, neon colors, more of the neutrals like we used, just a variety of shades. It's amazing what you can find out there. So, but we did decide to go with the naturals just so it's a little more pleasing to everybody that was participating. Okay, so now that we've reviewed all of the parts to our project, we are going to grab that lobster clip and we're going to slide it through our cord in the middle like this. And then I'm going to grab my 2 ends, and that's how we're going to kind of find the center of our cord. It's okay if it's not perfect because when we're done wrapping our floss around the edges, we are going to do a little trimming at the end and you can even it out there. But you do want to be somewhat close to the center when you're starting. And so I think to get us going, it'll be easier if I switch the camera position a little bit and you can see a little more of my hands creating the project versus this distance. So I'm going to set my project down and we're going to take a little pause and we're going to reset that camera so you can see what I'm doing up here. So give me just a second and we'll get going. You can see that I slid my keychain clip onto my cording and have it where it's somewhat in the center. The next thing I'm going to do is select the first color of floss that I'm going to use. And I'm going to start with my black floss. And so I'm going to grab my clip And I'm going to place my string down a little bit, and I'm going to start wrapping around, and I'm going to cover that string that I have angled down. So I'm going to flip this around here. And so basically you're just going to wrap around somewhat tightly, as far down as you would like to go. And so just around and around and around. And it just kind of depends on how long you want your color. Do you want short color segments or lengthy? That's up to you, but you're going to keep wrapping to cover up all the white of your cotton cord. And so we just kind of go around, and then you can go back up and back around again. And I think I'm going to go just a little bit lower down here on this. And I would suggest, we gave you 3 yards of each color, and I would go ahead and use all of it. Okay, so we're nearing the end of this color. And that lobster clip keeps getting in my way because I'm trying to stay kind of tight, so we can keep it on the film, on the camera here. All right, so we are very close. You can see that I'm almost at the end. And what I'm going to do next is, I think I've got enough on there. I'm going to trim it off a little bit where there's about 1 inch or so left. And I'm going to kind of angle that downward like this. And so my next color is going to overlap over that, and that will help keep that color secure. So I'm going to grab my next color. Now, you don't have to use all 3 colors that we provided. You could do just 1 color. You can do 2, whatever you prefer. The little samples that we had made over here that don't have the lobster clip on them, we just used 2 colors to kind of show you what that looks like. So it's kind of whatever you prefer. I'm going to go ahead and use 3 colors on this keychain that we're making. So here you can see our little overlap, and we're going to kind of do the same thing that we did when we started. We're going to lay our next color down next to it, just like that. And we're going to start wrapping and cover that tail. And so same thing. I'm going to kind of turn this back this way and wrap around. Actually, I think I'm going to keep going the way I was because it works a little easier for me. So cover up all that color and cover the white. And just keep it somewhat tight. And go down the cotton cording until it gets to be the length that you would like it to be. You might want a thin stripe in the middle. Maybe you want them all equally balanced. Anything goes with these. And again, know that you can get the floss locally, and it comes in so many colors, hundreds of colors. So hopefully the colors that you received are colors that are okay with you, but it's kind of just a project to kind of show you how to do something, and then you can go from there. Okay, we're going to wrap a little bit more. We're getting close to the end of our string, and I ended up with a little knot in mine. If that happens, just trim it off. And here we are with that tail. I'm going to lay that down so you can kind of see what I've got going on here. So again, I have a little tail that I will overlap with my color, and I'm going to kind of shorten that up just a little bit. So here it is. So there we've got 2 colors. And again, you can end with 2, or you can add that 3rd. I'm going to add that blue color in there as well as what I have for my 3rd. And we're going to do that same thing that we've done to start with the others. We're going to lay that string down. So we overlap it, and that's going to keep it stable. And we will start wrapping our keychain. And so this one that I ended up with is kind of a black gray and kind of a military blue color. A little bit of white there, so I'm going slow. I want to make sure that I have all the white covered up. If you end up with a little bit of white showing, we do have a way to work around that when we're all done. So don't fret if you get done with the color and you notice that you have a little bit of white showing through. I'm going to pull my string loose here. We'll go a little bit further. And so these are really fun. You can clip them on so many things. Just something fun to do. It's kind of an intro to macrame, and they have lots of great cording options in town. So many things you can make with macrame. So if you like this little simple project, you might look on Pinterest, for example, and kind of see what they have on there. Okay, with my last color, when you're on your last color, leave a little tail of thread. Leave that little tail of thread because we are going to need that. There's two ways to finish off this project. First of all, I can see part of my tail dangling there, so I am going to trim that tail piece off and make it kind of a clean look. You can finish this off by tying a knot, so looping your string around and tying knots. But we did include a blunt darning needle in your project. So you're going to take your darning needle and you're going to thread your floss through that needle, and we're going to push it through our cord. Now, depending on how tight you wound it, it's going to be easier or more difficult. If you're one of our younger friends, you may wish to have your mom or dad help you with this. And so I'm just going to push it through, back and forth until it pops through, and then pull it all the way through. And then we're going to go back through again. And don't worry if some of your white's showing through. Like I said earlier, there is a workaround, but we're going to go back and forth through this probably 3 or 4 times would be great. So just keep working it, and that's going to keep it secure where you don't have to tie a knot. These blunt needles work well for that. They will get through the project, but they're not overly sharp. Yes, you can still probably hurt yourself, but you should be okay. They're pretty safe. So after you pull that through a few times, then trim it flat and even. And you can see that I have some white space here. So I'm going to take my darning needle and just kind of move my thread. And I hope you can see this good on there. You can kind of lift and pull and move that floss over to cover it up until you can't see any white. So just slide back and forth, push it a little bit, and it'll pack back together, and you won't even know that it was there. So set my needle aside. So this is kind of the basics of your keychain. For the last step, we are going to fray the edges. And you can see that I have a lot of white length left. So it depends on whether you want a long tail of fringe or a short tail of fringe. If you want a long tail of fringe, I would suggest that you just take this painter's tape off and work from there. If you don't want your fringe quite that long, you can trim it off with your scissors to whatever length you prefer. I'm going to leave this one a little bit longer this time just to kind of show the difference in what it would look like, since we don't have one with a longer example to it. So to undo my cotton cording, you can see that it's kind of twisted this way. So you can turn it and untwist to get these into individual little segments of 3 on both sides. So that's a good way to start. So just kind of twist and unravel, twist and unravel. And then you can lay your keychain flat on the counter, and you can take that darning needle and just kind of work your way through. So you're kind of combing through your yarn to get it separated, your cording. You can also, if you have a wire brush like a dog brush, those work awesome. You can just comb through it like this and it fluffs it right up. So those are really fun to use. So just kind of work through with your needle, and you can fluff and fluff until you get those segments where they're all broken apart. So that'll take just a little bit of time to fluff it up. And again, if you have some sort of wire brush, super awesome effect with that. It really does a good job. I'm going to kind of shake it out a little bit. And this will give you just a rough idea of what the keychain will look like with a little bit longer in comparison to the shorter one. This is our Macramé Tassel Keychain. And again, you can use it for a keychain or you can clip it onto something. But lots of fun, lots of options with that. I told you before that if your cord was imbalanced, like mine might have been a little bit, you can always go through, and I'll do it on this one here. You can go through and you can trim your ends to make them even, so they're a better length. So you can always do that as well. So there we have it. Thank you so much for participating in Teen Takeout Crafts today. We hope you had a good time. And if you have any questions about our project, feel free to contact us and we can help you locate materials if you're having troubles. But have a great day, and thanks a bunch for crafting with us.